The 2027 Rugby World Cup draw has been made and it's not been kind to the All Blacks. They're in the same group as hosts Australia, plus they're set for a quarter-final against world champs South Africa. Have a look.
I think they've definitely got the players to win a World Cup. It's just a matter of, they've been working on building depth, but now we just need to start sort of working on combinations, consistency and monitoring sort of growth over the next 2 years. You don't win World Cups 2 years out from World Cup.
Tony Johnson's with us, rugby broadcaster. TJ, opener against the Wallabies, is that a pressure cooker or is that a great launch pad?
Well, it's a promoter's dream, that's for sure, because I think the organisers of this tournament will be absolutely thrilled to have the All Blacks playing against Australia in the opening match, because it provides the sort of blockbuster opening to the tournament. But of course, it's a very dangerous opponent, Australia. They'll be well fired up. They've fallen off a bit of a cliff this year, but they are going to be a very good side by the time the World Cup comes around, I'm sure. And the reward for winning that game is almost certainly a quarter-final against the hot favourite South Africa. And so in that effect, it couldn't be harder for the All Blacks to progress deep into this tournament.
You reckon we might get knocked off at the quarters then?
Well, no, they're capable of winning, of course, but they need to be a lot better than they are now that they've shown this year. South Africa at the moment, the way they finished the year, they're probably head and shoulders above everyone else at the moment. England, the most likely challenger on the form that we saw in the November tests, and if the All Blacks were to lose that opening game to Australia, sometimes a scenario like that can actually provide a team, if they lose an opener like that, can provide an easier path to the final. It certainly happened to England in 1991 when the All Blacks beat them in the opener. England had a relatively smooth passage to the final. The All Blacks had to play the favourites Australia in the semi, and they lost that. Not the case this time, because if the All Blacks were to lose to Australia, they'd still qualify for sure in a pool like that, but then they'd almost certainly face England in the quarterfinals. So either way you slice it and dice it, this draw couldn't be tougher for the All Blacks.
Would you then lose to Australia to face England?
No, I don't. Something that they would contemplate at all. Look, I don't doubt that some of the teams, for example, Italy will play against South Africa in the pool, and it wouldn't surprise me if a team like Italy put a B team out focused on winning the other games to make sure they went through. But that's not going to happen in a match between New Zealand and Australia.
This is the first time we've got 24 teams, we've got smaller pools, we've got a round of 16. How do you think that'll change from a viewer perspective, an audience perspective? Do you think that'll change much?
Yes, I think it will. To me, it's a slightly cumbersome draw the way it's been done, and certainly some of the teams, I think if I was Ireland, I'd be pretty happy with how the draws treated them, some of the other teams, but there's going to be a lot of mismatches for sure. They've looked to broaden the base of world rugby. They're saying it's time for us to include more teams because of the progression of teams on the fringe. But to be honest, you look at some of the teams like Hong Kong, for example, I think there's going to be some carnage in those games. So I think it's going to produce some lopsided results. And I think the focus is going to be all on the key matches in each pool. But the fact is that the teams that are rated 1 and 2 are going to go through. I can't see that upsets are going to affect the draw, because there'll also be room for, I think, about 4 teams who've finished third in the pool as well. So, yeah, they've broadened the base. It's good to see the game growing, but I think the outcome of that is going to be some lopsided results.
And also some potentially boring matches to begin with.
I don't know. If you think a lopsided match is boring, I don't know. But the fact is, those key pool, they're going to be strategically very important because they'll decide who finishes top. If you finish top of the pool, you should get a better draw, although in the case of the All Blacks, that's not likely to be the case. They'll play a team in the round of 16, which are likely to be one of the third place getters from the pool, so that won't be too tough. But then, as I say, bang into South Africa in the quarterfinal, and if they were to get past South Africa, then probably England in a semi-final.
Appreciate your time, TJ. Thank you. That's Tony Johnson, a rugby broadcaster.